The same goes for Chinese herbal medicine, lingua qingwen, and steam inhalation, or what people call suop. Risa, doctors are reminding the public to distinguish facts from fiction and be very careful on what they share online. They say we must not only protect ourselves from the spread of the virus, but also against misinformation. Riza?
Thank you for that report. That's Faith Del Mundo reporting live from Quezon City. Now, the benefits of the executive order lifting the 9-year moratorium and the new mining agreements will be felt later this year. That's according to the Mines and Geosciences Bureau. For one group, the government should first make adjustments in the fiscal regimes before greenlighting mining details. Shaila Francisco has the story.
The Environment Department's Mines and Geosciences Bureau is now crafting the implementing rules and regulations of the executive order lifting the 9-year moratorium on new mining agreements. The Bureau has met with its technical division and is planning on coordinating with the Finance Department next week. With the IRR likely out within a month, the DNR is optimistic that the EO's benefits will be felt later this year. More than 100 mining projects may now proceed to development and commercial extraction based on the agency's priority list. 36 of these projects are currently in Phase 1, which means they are now in the last stages of processing permits. Most of these are non-metallic mining projects that produce aggregates and cement, which are needed for the government's Build, Build, Build program. On the other hand, 65 projects, mostly metallic mining, are on Phase 2 or early and middle stages of processing permits. The MGB estimates the mining projects to generate 42,000 jobs in 1 to 5 years. They also expect a revenue of around 20 billion pesos, with indigenous peoples also standing to benefit.
We hope maipasagada nito because yun na nga, very urgent na naghahabol tayo na maka-generate ng additional revenue for government.
Civil society group Bantay Kita notes that the contribution of the mining sector could be more.
Our contention has been that the revenues generated for government by the mining industry is not enough. That number could be much larger if we revise the fiscal regime for mining companies. And this is our point. We can say that the mining sector is undertaxed.
The group also recommends that all mining companies pay the royalty fee not just in areas declared as mineral reservations. Mining companies in these areas are currently required to pay 5% royalty fees. Bantay Kita adds that the fee should be based on the gross value of minerals to get more revenues from this sector. Some environmental groups, including Alianza Tigil Mina, flag environmental concerns of the new mining projects. But the MGB notes that they already created an administrative order that will limit the maximum allowed area for mining and other measures to prevent environmental damage. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
Now here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. The ABS-CBN News channel won't be pushing through with its partnership with Chinatown News TV. ANC received a backlash for its original plan to air the Chinese newscast amid tensions in the West Philippine Sea. The Transportation Department reports over 700 active COVID-19 cases in the country's railway systems. A bulk of the infection is detected in LRT2 with 242 active cases out of more than 1,900 tested individuals. And the former President Joseph Estrada is back in the ICU after doctors discovered a superimposed bacterial infection in his lungs. Ex-Senator Jingo Estrada said his father is currently stable with high-flow oxygen support. Unused COVID-19 vaccines are piling up across the United States as many residents are still hesitant about getting inoculated. Will these jabs be donated instead? Bloomberg Daybreak's Michelle Cortez tells us.
Is this an issue of distribution, or are we seeing people just a little bit hesitant about getting inoculated?
It's really both at this point. We are seeing people in every state who are hesitant, and of course, the distribution of the vaccine is going pretty evenly across states. So we're seeing around cities, for example, there's a lot of demand, and it's very difficult to get appointments, even in cities that are doing mass vaccination events. But if you're willing to drive a few hours, an hour, 2, 3 outside of the city, you can generally get to rural towns where they have plenty of vaccine and not enough people who are signing up to get it. So if you're willing to travel within your state or across state lines, vaccines are available, just maybe not close to where you live.
So when it comes to the latest on where we're seeing, some of these nations banning or just refusing to use, how closer are we to seeing these, unused stockpiles being donated to countries that, do need it? And does the psychology of developed countries not wanting to use these vaccines play in there as well when it comes to hesitancy and rollouts?
We are seeing millions of vaccines starting to build up in the United States. Of course, we have a stockpile of the AstraZeneca vaccine. It's not approved yet here, and the J&J vaccine is currently on pause exactly because of what you're discussing, these clots that we're seeing. Many developing countries are still rolling out their vaccines. They're saying that they will take the AstraZeneca and the Johnson & Johnson shots, that the risk of these clots is so low compared to the very high, serious, and deadly COVID infections that they're experiencing, that they do want to get access, and they feel like they can control who gets the vaccine to reduce the risk of the clotting. As far as when the U.S. is going to start making those available to other people, or indeed even move them around within states or between states, it's unclear how we're going to get to that point. That's a supply chain issue. It's an organizational issue, and we haven't seen an awful lot of great movement when it comes to that particular space. When you think about it broadly, though, very soon we're going to have many, many more vaccines than we have people who want them. Hopefully that means it'll trickle down and people in other areas will have access to these shots.
Michelle, before we let you go, we're seeing some odd trends globally. Brazil's COVID pandemic right now more deadly than, say, India. Do we have any idea why the case fatality ratio in Brazil is twice that of India?
It is very unusual what is happening across different parts of the world when it comes to the COVID epidemic. And honestly, scientists don't know exactly what's going on here. There are, of course, a couple of issues. The outbreak right now that's happening in Brazil is so intense that they're overwhelming their hospitals. So when you can't get good care in a hospital, even if they know what to do for you, if you can't get access to it, you're more likely to die. Of course, also in Brazil, they're experiencing an outbreak fueled by this P1 variant. It could be that the type of vaccine or the type of virus that they're experiencing is a more deadly virus, and that could be contributing to those numbers. Finally, there are genetic differences among people, and it could be that people from Southeast Asia, people from India, perhaps are just genetically less vulnerable to COVID death. That's something that the researchers are going to have to dig into much more deeply in the days and months to come.
And for more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.